Oh, hello, Shamar.
Hello, Stuart.
Has anyone ever told you that you kind of look like an action hero?
Yeah, I get that Michael B. Jordan, but I think it's like more like Michael B. Jordan from Temu.
Have you have you ever considered maybe going into acting?
Actually, I have.
Really?
I have.
Do you have an IMDb page?
I do have an IMDb page.
You do?
Yep, I do. Have the select films I've worked on since.
Give me a street cred, man. Give me a cred.
Man, Death Note, Baywatch, Ford versus Ferrari, which.
I'm sorry. Whoa.
Yeah.
Ford versus Ferrari.
Yes, Ford versus. Oh my God, I'm fumbling my words. Ford versus Ferrari was literally almost one of the last films I worked on for Factory VFX. Great boss Eric Christensen, and he reached out to me and says, "Hey, we need you to design a runway X for this movie." And I was like, "Okay, what movie it is?" And he's like, "Oh, it's Ford versus Ferrari." I was like, "You mean with Matt Damon and Christian Bale?" He was like, "Yeah." I said, "Absolutely, I'll do it."
Am I in the presence of greatness?
No.
You should really always say yes.
I'm usually the one that's behind the camera. It's also difficult for me to talk about myself.
What is so you are VFX, right?
I'm VFX, wedding videography, graphic design. Basically, it's me wrapped up in all three.
How give me some context, man, because so the backstory, the reason you're here is about 2 years ago.
Yep.
We met at a AAF networking event, and for disclosure, I don't really like networking events at all.
Me either.
And so it was at a brewery, and that's why I went, because I like breweries. Yep. And so we were sitting there, and I'm looking around the room. I did the whole walk up to a table, do the thing, and then someone's like, you need to meet Shamar. I was like, okay, fine. So I hung around for 10 minutes and you showed up and we just hit it off and we talked shop, we talked industry, we talked problems of the universe, we talked parenting. Anyway, when we were done 45 minutes later, we were like, this is something that there's got to be other people like us that would enjoy this conversation. And we started a little initiative called Pick BR.
Yep, we did.
Which was people in credits. So it was a networking, or I didn't want to call it a networking group because, so we called it a meetup for people in credits. So this would not be actors. Yeah. We didn't want directors showing up, and we were really enthused. And then we did our first one, and logistically, it just was a pain in the butt. And so I apologize that maybe now we have this space, we could start up something on a little smaller scale, because
most definitely. Because
here's the deal: is that 2 years later, you've now progressed in your career, and in some ways, as a result of the people we met during that PIC meeting, the people that you met there. And so, so I'm really pleased that we did that. And man, it's funny how life works. 2 years later, here you are.
Yeah, and let me tell you, man, honestly, I wasn't going to go to the AF meeting.
Neither was I.
My best friend at work, she was like, "Hey, they got this meeting. Would you like to go?" I was like, "Yeah, let's go." So I wound up going, and then I just sat at the table with my fries and my bourbon, and I was just talking shop with everybody, and then they were like, "Hey, this guy wants to meet you." And so that's when we linked up, and that's whenever I was like, "Yeah, I have this this vision. I want to meet up with other like-minded people who does cinema." And then that's when you were just chiming in, and I was like, "God, thank you."
So I'm going to move this mic. This might make some noise because I want to sit back here. Let me just check to make sure I just mess up my frame. All right, here we go. Yeah.
And I mean, it's just you always want to meet like-minded people. That's been my whole entire life. Meeting like-minded people that share the same creative vision as you, because it's so difficult to talk visual effects or wedding videography or cinematic shots with people who actually don't understand frame, they don't understand animation, they don't understand how the shots are put together, they don't really understand story. So whenever I met you, and I was like, "Oh my God, this guy digs what I'm doing, and I dig what he's doing. Let's go ahead and do this."
Well, I had a plan for this podcast, but I'm about to throw it out the window because it just occurred to me that you met me at the beginning of a period of my life where I think I might have told you this at the networking event, but so I've been in this business 22 years, right? And the summer before, the winter, the Christmas before we met, I was at the beach with my brother from England and my wife's a beach bum. And so we're at this beautiful beach house we'd rented for my family, my very large family, and my brother's family. And, 11 o'clock at night, we're drinking on the balcony, and she's like, I need this in my life. It's like, what? She's like, the beach house. I'm like, it's $1.7 million, right? And so, she's said that before. And at that point, I was like, you know what? Yes. And so I was at the very beginning of a process in my life where I'm like, I just need bigger paydays. And the work that I do with corporations and stuff, we tell stories. We tell short, we make short films about real things. And that looked a lot like a documentary to me. And so I was enthusiastically embarking on that journey. And I think at the time we had a couple of projects that we were good. But I mean, every minute of my spare time, I was just making stuff. And all that to say that 2 years later, I'm tired. I'm tired, man. And I've also learned an incredible amount. And so do you want to have that conversation again that we had at AAF?
Yes.
Okay, so where you at? What's exciting you right now?
Oh my God, being a father.
Yes.
Honestly, being a father and raising 2 daughters with my beautiful wife, who keeps me creatively grounded, because sometimes my creative vision can be like, it could just take off. But she's majority like, hey, I got to root you down for a little bit. Start from ground level and then build on everything else. Because as a creative, literally, I have a different eye, but then sometimes you have to, look a different way and let another set of eyes look at it, because there's some things you may
Is your wife's eyes those eyes for you?
Yes, 100%. Either it's in wedding videos, t-shirt designs, graphic designs, advertising, animation, visual effects. Because a lot of it, if we're being honest, I used to have like confidence problems, meaning the fact that
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah, imposter syndrome is exactly what I would say. It's because I always thought I wasn't good enough. I'm not as good as the artist next to me. I had it when I was in design school, because you look over, it's that artist that looks over and you're looking at your buddy's computer and you're like, oh my God, I got to model this 18-wheeler for this short film we're working on. And he's already got the trailer, the engine, the wheels. And I'm sitting there looking I got a doorknob. And you're like, oh my God, I wish I was good as him.
You just ask AI to give you what you need now, right?
I guess.
I don't want to talk about AI today.
But I mean,
do me a favor, grab that mic stand and just bring that mic so it's a little closer. Yeah, so as we face each other, I want it like right under your face.
No problem.
Not that close. I mean, it looks weird. And now you just look like you're making out with the mic, so let's not do that. All right, thanks. So so your wife is your eyes. So one of the first jobs I did when I went freelance was for one of those airboat tour companies. They sent me down there, an agency did, for 3 days, and we had our own boat and our own captain and stuff. And anyway, there was a scene I wanted to capture where all of the tourists were coming off the boat as they come into the dock, right? And so I've got my camera ready for them to land. They dock one of those 70-person boat things, and I go to the back of the boat, and as people are standing up, I'm like, hey, how was the trip and stuff? And this lady from England, of all places, would you believe? She's like, oh my God. She's like, do you want to see my video? It was gold, right? If you go to New Orleans and see what, you'll see it. She's like, do you want to see? That's how the video starts. Anyway, so the joke with my wife now, every time I come home is hey, baby, you want to see my video? It's been that way for almost 9 years now, but I could appreciate how your wife, certainly, but is she honest with you?
We're still talking truth. Yes, 100%. She does not beat around the bush. She will literally tell you exactly what's on her mind. She does not I'm not going to hurt your feelings, but I'm just going to tell you how it is. And that's what I admire about people. It's the people that, like we said, we meet at Pick BR when the event we threw. It was like maybe 45 to 50 people. And out of those 50 or whatever, only 5 stayed. Only 5.
Stayed? What do you mean stayed? Because I think we had 3 meetings, didn't we?
Stayed meaning they came back. They wanted more. Yeah. They're like, hey, we want to be a part of the group. We want to make other things. We want to make films. We want to make short films. And that's the type of people I want to surround myself with, because if you think about it, there are different type of people. You have people who want success overnight.
I'm feeling bad right now because that mic is way too close to you.
No, I'm good.
Are you sure?
Just like it.
It feels like you're hugging it. Like
no, I'm good. I'm always. See those?
Good, nice. Guns, by the way. Nice
no, these are inflated. I got them off Amazon.
My 15-year-old son the other day was like, Dad, look, I'm getting that muscle. I'm like, it's called a tricep, son, and don't worry, just grown up.
Hey, 15 years old, you're like, yeah, I'm just flexing in the mirror. And then your dad walks by, you're like, what do you
have, by the way?
I have 2.
You have 2?
I have 2. How old are they? A 3-year-old and a 7-month-old.
How, what?
7 month. 7 months.
It's just going to take a minute.
They literally.
I'd like to say a quick prayer for Shamar.
2 girls. 2 girls. And I wanted a boy, but then once those girls wrapped their finger around like my hands, I was like, I'm sold. My oldest, my 3-year-old, loves everything art. She will, like, wherever daddy goes, she'll go. And being a creative, it's like you want to give them the best life. You want them, like an analogy I used before, it's like if you can lasso the moon and bring it to them, I would.
Yeah.
You know,
or kill a neighborhood kid that's been.
yeah, that's you know that's
you do that
roll
too.
over dad. You roll over dad. Just hide the body. You know, pig farm, whatever it is, like that. But
I have 2 7-year-olds, as you know, so I know all about that.
yeah, man.
God does not send you what you want; He sends you what you need. And
Yes.
apparently, for the two of us, we needed little girls in our lives,
Yes.
and so yeah, that's
Yes.
for the both of us.
Patience.
So we have, you've developed a small community of people that came back to that pick thing. Man, that makes me so happy. It does. You know, that we should probably...
But honestly, man, all credit goes to you because honestly...
Come on now, man.
No,
when I said it was logistically, like, I couldn't do it and you just kept running with it, I was...
But be honest, is like the fact that if you weren't at AF, that idea would have just been sitting in my head. It never would have got implemented at all. Because there needed to be some type of person, an accountability person, or somebody that's like, hey, you know what? You're sitting on this cliff with a parachute. You're scared to jump. Let's go ahead and just jump together. And I really do appreciate that because it allowed me to like, okay, we can do this. Let me tell you, after I got off work, because I was like, oh my God, I have to go get this presentation to all these people and tell them about myself. Which I don't like talking about myself. I really don't.
It's my favorite subject.
And I'm like, oh my God, can I just like show a PDF and then go walk behind everybody or hide in a corner?
Well, that's because of your career in VFX, right? You're probably in a dark room and you just generate content and you're almost like the faceless person in the industry.
Person. And visual effects is a great topic because it goes, you know, it's underappreciated. You have a lot of artists who are very talented. They go to design school and film schools and they produce amazing art, amazing designs, amazing animations. And, you know, they're forgotten. You know, a lot of the credit goes to the actors. A lot of the credit goes to the producers, directors, but the visual effects artists are the ones that are.
Yeah, it's like if you do a good job, they don't notice your work.
No, you don't. You don't.
What an interesting job to be in.
And Garrett Christensen at Factory VFX gave me a shot. He gave me a shot, man. Like literally, I left California after working on a short film or pilot called Tribe of the Wild.
Are you from California?
No, from Louisiana.
So you went to California to like pursue your VFX career?
Okay. So I went to Dave School in 2012, and that school was privately owned by Jeff Sheets. It's now a public university or whatever school because it got bought out. But they employed industry professional professors.
Okay.
And one of, you know, all of our professors were great. Like we still stay in contact with some of them. Dan Smith, Will Vaughn, who's a modeling guru. But after you go 3 months of modeling, 3 months of visual effects, 3 months of animation, then the last 3 months, which is your graduation month, you do a short film. And you have to prepare a whole entire film with your classmates, by yourself, not your professors. They give you the script, you do the animation, you do all of it. And they put a time clock. And when you start it, when they give you the script, that's when that clock goes. And when that clock strikes 0, that's when you have to have all the plates turned in. The film has to be put complete.
It's and like Gordon Ramsay's kitchen cook-off.
Oh my God!
Cinema.
Let me tell you, man. We literally were sleeping on like green screens and all that type of stuff because we were very dedicated. A lot of the people that I graduated with, I still stay in contact with. Yeah, you know, because our professor told us, like, I don't know if we can cuss on this thing, but. He told us,
I don't fucking care.
He said, don't be an asshole.
Sure.
Don't be an asshole to the person next to you because that person could wind up getting you a job.
So everybody has a point in their life where everything goes to shit. And when that happens, it's what you know, because competence can never be underrated.
Yep.
And it's your network that will save you. It's your safety net. And people like to help people, especially friends. And you take that for granted when you don't need them. But when life hits, definitely. I think your professor was very, very wise.
Oh, amen to that. And so we did our film and, you know, we didn't get to finish it because it was a massive film.
You bit off more than you could chew.
Well, it was supposed to be in 9 minutes. It wanted to be in 30. And we're like, yeah, we're not going to finish this. But our professor, you know, told us, he was like, hey, look, it's not you guys' fault. The script was just a little bit longer than normal. But at our school, there's like career placement. And our professor, God rest his soul, one of our professors came in, Ron Thornton, who actually did all the practical effects for Star Trek, the original Star Trek. And he built all the ships and stuff like that. So
I need to pause for a minute.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, say that again. Your professor did what?
He was the actual set designer for like Star Trek. He built all like the ships.
So maybe you shook his hand, right?
Oh yeah, I worked for him in California for the short film. He literally
Okay, so I grew up in a house in England, working class British, and my dad was a computer type person. We're a Trekkie household, and so it just boggles my mind how every kid isn't. You know? So I grew up on that. The first gift that we ever bought as the kids for my dad was a Klingon to English dictionary. And so that touched a special part in my soul. So your professor did all of the set design and the models for all the Star Trek
the original Star Trek. Yep.
Told you I'm in greatness, man. I'm in the company of greatness.
No, I'm in the company of you guys. But he was great, man. Like, he brought us in, and one thing you learn as an entry-level visual effects artist is you don't get paid a lot. We had a hotel room. We were getting paid $8.25. And we're like, well, yeah, this is our great job. We got this. It was great working under, the creators of, one of the creators
The mic
of
doesn't care.
Power Rangers, Shuki Levi, worked under him. And I was like, this is fantastic, dude. It's fantastic.
So you have a, I've never been a VFX, but sounds to me like you did it right. Mm-hmm. You went through the right channels, you developed the skills, you had some swings at some hella projects, dude.
Yeah.
Now Power Rangers, go drop that one. Yeah. I once dressed up as a Power Ranger for a show in England. It was a pantomime, so I was the gold Power Ranger, only because I was very bendy back then. But anyway, so yeah, you've like VFX legit. And I say this with all respect. Mm-hmm. Why are you still in Baton Rouge?
Man, I've worked everywhere. I've worked in California. I've worked in New Orleans, different places. And the reason why I'm in Baton Rouge is because of my wife. Visual effects is very unstable. Mm-hmm. You go from contract to contract to contract unless you get with a studio or a company that literally will keep you for their entirety. And that is because, like I said, being at the school, graduating, we still stay in contact with friends. So we meet up every night whenever we do have time, and we talk about each other's projects, what you need help on, this, and this, what's your 2 cents, hey, I got this animation, how do I fix it? And a lot of those guys have so much experience and are very talented, but they're just like trying to figure out the words to say it, but it's like they're dried up, meaning the fact that their love for it, burnt out. Yeah. There it is, burnt out, because it's like they're tired of chasing contract after contract or meeting studios that are literally like taking advantage of the artists. And that is, I don't think
that's unique to VFX. Mm-hmm. Finish your thought.
But it's like you it's unstable.
Yep.
So when I found this position, because I was literally working at a law firm, and then once that ended, I was like, man, I got to find something, because I like to work. Mm-hmm. I'm a man that's like, I don't like anybody taking care of me. I'll take care of somebody else, like my wife or my kids or my mom or whatever. I don't like being taken care of. So I was out of a job for 3 months. Mm-hmm. And my wife was like, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. I was like, no, I even almost took a job working at a fitness studio for $8.
Well, that makes sense.
For $8.
Do it again.
$8 an hour. And I was like, no, I can't do this, man. And then my current position, I could say Lamar Graphics, called me. And they said, hey, we have a position opening for a 3D modeler. Would you like to come interview? And I was like, yes. And I love it. I've been there for 5 years. I still do freelance visual effects and animation. I'm trying to step into directing, things of that nature.
So there's 3 ways people tend to get into this. Either you're born with this beautifully autistic chip where you just can't help but express yourself, and you end up finding a camera and you fall in love. And then there's the people that go into news, and that's me, is you work in a newsroom and you're telling stories. When you work in news, you're telling stories, but you ain't telling shit in news. It's like there's a level of story and emotion that the news doesn't have time for.
Yeah.
And so I'm all about process and delivery and deadlines. Mm-hmm. And there is that too in everything, but in weddings as well. But like there's an art to that wedding side of things that you gain when you do it. Are you feeling that?
Dude, like,
I mean, you probably already have it in your soul. But
dude, whenever I feel it, it's like you're capturing the real essence and love between two people.
Do you smile when you're behind the camera? Like
I do.
When you know you've got it?
I do. Oh my God. Like,
I do as well.
I'll sit behind there and they'll be saying their I do's or whatever and whatnot, or it's like the dad. And it's kind of a, the first look with the dad. And I share this story because my dad passed away in 2015, so he was not able to attend my sister's wedding or my wedding. So I feel more connected whenever they do the first looks, because it's like the dad seeing his little girl,
Yeah.
you know, seeing her like running, crawling as a little girl, but then all of a sudden seeing her as a young lady, you know, all grown up, walking her down the aisle, right? Or it's the dad who sees his son getting married and he ties his son's, you know, tie, or, you know, fixes his son's, you know, all that type jacket and all that type of things. So if you really want to be a wedding videographer, you have to feel it.
Yeah.
You have to feel it because you're telling their story.
I would take that to the nth degree.
Yeah.
If you want to take a camera, and here's the trick, dude. If you want to take a camera and if you want to tell any story, you got to feel it.
You do.
Like,
You do, man.
yeah, you got to feel it.
Because, like, think about a project you've been on, and like you're sitting there, and your notions are coming through. Like, I don't want to be here. Once your first thought comes through, like, I don't want to be here, you can go ahead and chalk up the rest of the day because you're not feeling any of it.
So I asked you if you smile behind the camera because there's like, I don't even know, like creative stuff just breaks my brain because like, you know, like math is 2 + 2 = 4 and who cares, but it's true. And that's all you need to know. Like there's a depth to creativity that I'm still exploring. Like I feel like an infant with regard to it, but at its simplest form, when you're creating that art, there's a smile. Like I'm sure when you were making your VFX stuff, like you make a thing and it's just like, you're like, it's like chef kiss, right? In the same way that if you're behind a camera and you're pointing it at something, like you can be doing that for 20 minutes and worrying about your legs hurt or your whatever hurt, you know, it's whatever, is my focus sharp. But then there's a point, there's some moments where you just, like I see it in the guys that, you know, I hire and stuff. I don't even know if they do it, but like they're working and it's great and they're focused and then it's happening and they smile.
Yes, man. It's the greatest feeling.
Here's the tricky part though. It's because if you're seeing that, you know that it's happening. But then there's the edit. I had a job the other day and I was genuinely moved at the production event. Like I felt like something I'd never felt before. It was a connectedness, a human like drive thing. And I sat down at the edit and I remembered how I felt like 2 days later. I'm like, how do I put that feeling in this edit so that the people that watch it feel that too? Are you doing that? Like it's like a weird,
man. Like honestly, either if it's editing a short film or if it's editing animation or if it's, case in point, editing a wedding film. One of the wedding films I had filmed was a cowboy style wedding, right? And the guy came out with a long black coat and blue jeans, had his boots on. He had his hair slicked back, and the wife came out in a beautiful dress. And so I was like, hey, let's go outside, and they got this hill outside the reception area. Let's get out there and you guys walk up and I'm gonna point the camera and pan down and you slowly walk this way, right? So I'm sitting there with my camera and I'm just filming. And all of a sudden I look down at my screen and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is freaking beautiful, because they're the center of attention. And I told them, do not even look at your parents. Don't look at your groomsmen, your bridesmaids. It's just you in the moment. Just you two. That's it. That's all that's going to matter after the I-dos, after everybody leaves the reception, after, you know, the wedding. It's just you two. And so they're just looking at each other and they're talking, and I'm just sitting there just smiling like a baby, like, oh my God, it's so great. I love this shot. It's amazing. And when it came down to the edit, I literally was just doing that same thing over again. It was like, wow, this is magical. And they love their film. They love their film. And it's like, if you have somebody who is all in to your film, your wedding, your animation, whatever, book that person.
All right, it's 7:10 at the end of a day, and I left my house at 6:30, so I too have a wife and kids, and I should probably get out of here, so I'm going to do that. But man, it's been fun. I really enjoyed catching up with you.
We'll do this again.
No doubt.